So in learning to do this stage lighting, I found that oftentimes I'll end up having to do something 2, 3, maybe 4 times over before I actually do it right. And that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of this stuff. For instance, my OCD kicked in and I realized some of these trusses are like facing one way, then that one's flipped. This side, let's see, these two are one way and then that one's flipped. So I'm gonna take it down, and also thinking through things like, okay, do I mirror the trusses or are they the same direction in the back and the front? Also things I didn't realize while setting stuff up is the orientation of some of these. Like this display should actually be in the back because when they reset, they face a certain way, or they have a certain range of motion that you have to consider when you're kind of finding out what the midpoint is. So when you go to program things, you kind of know where your center is. So doing a lot of that stuff. Went through several different lights. You can't see them, but they're behind them. These. So I put those up, and they didn't really work. They were kind of buggy across the board. And then I ordered ones to replace those. And then I realized for the application on the back, having those back there kind of, they are called washes. But in the back of the stage, I felt like when I was doing some testing, it almost washes too much, and it kind of eliminates a lot of the contrast and dark blackness between the lights. So I ended up, I'll be swapping those out with beams, which is going to be sick because over each display is going to have 4 beams. So you'll be able to do kind of like some really cool animated movements and chase sequences, which chases are like boom, 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 boom kind of thing, whether it's like a color or turning on and off a light in a sequence. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with that. So right now I'm at a place where I'm going to take down the trusses and take care of that OCD, even though it's a pain. But a lot of this stuff, it's not pretty how it's wired. And I'm probably going to change out some of the cables so they're more specific links to there, so all the wiring is really nice and clean. And then also thinking through things like how I actually want to route the DMX through all the fixtures, and what's the best way to do that to be able to adapt to different venues, whether it's I need to run the cables along the right side or the left side, depending on where the stage is oriented. And some of these things I haven't even tested yet, but I'm pumped too. The hazer, that was another thing I had to buy something else on because it didn't work. Because I got a fog machine, but fog machines and hazers are different in that fog machines are like, they just blast smoke. But hazer is kind of steadily release like a nice fine mist, which is what you need to actually see the light show. So that was another instance of buying a product, it not really working, and having to swap it out for something else. Other things like that where I've had to make the mistake like 2 or 3 times is these stupid fixtures. If you see, there's blue and then there's blue. And then if you look on these fixtures, which are the right way, you have a blue and a white. A blue is your in and the white is the out. And that's how you know what to daisy chain. But the Chinese makers of these fixtures were super sneaky. It's really dumb and really stupid and really frustrating, but they made them both the in power con, so you would have to use their proprietary cables. There's no reason that they should have done that, but I didn't know that was even a thing. I'd initially actually ordered speak-on cables because They have a very similar connector, but the notches are different. So I ordered speak-on cables. So then I ordered actual PowerCon cables, but they were blue and white. Then I had to reorder a third time to use the proprietary ones. So a lot of this has just been making a ton of mistakes, or just a lot of trial and error. And I don't know what this cable is actually specifically called. It's similar to a speak-on cable and a PowerCon cable, but instead it has 4 notches. The PowerCon cable has 45-degree angle, 90-degree angle notches, and then a speak-on cable has 180-degree notches. So that, and then, so I got a long to-do checklist. I also need to kind of set up the power distribution on here to account for the additional for moving head washes. And then on top of that, because all of these are just random Chinese manufacturers and not from like a name brand. Name brands, when you go to program them in DMX, they usually, a lot of lighting console software will already have profiles for those fixtures. But these, since they're kind of drop shipped lighting fixtures that any company can kind of slap their name on, there's not really fixtures for them. So I have to go into the software and log in, and it's kind of like data entry. You have to put in the channels and what they do, what the range, like when you have a fader to control something, that fader has a value 0 to 1 to 255. And so each fixture has different ranges and what those ranges do, and you have to kind of go in and set all that up manually. So that's been a time-consuming thing, which I haven't shown because I was like, I could show that, but I feel like that's basically watching me do data entry, which I don't think would be very exciting. But I finally got all of those fixtures set up. But now I need to go in and make functions for everything I want to control, which I've done for 2 of the light fixtures. And then I have the beam fixtures coming in tomorrow. I'll have to set up those profile pictures and the functions for those of everything I want to control. And then after that, I have to go in and basically create my own custom digital console that could be controlled from an iPad or anything like that. That'll be really cool. I might actually show working on some of that. But slow progress. It's been a process, but so far I've learned quite a bit to the point where, well, I'm getting close to where I would feel somewhat confident in doing this for someone else. Not quite there yet. Once I get the digital console set up and also controlling that through an iPad, through this other app which uses OSC, which is like a protocol to control things over a network and all that kind of good stuff. The other process has been creating some, I've shown some of that in Blender, some of the motion graphics. Some things I've resorted to using some stock video. Yeah, a lot going on. But it's been fun. Also, this thing sucks. Every time I smile, it like splits open, and it's awful. Anywho, yeah, this is my little video blog. At some point, I'd like to figure out a process where I can get in a groove and I kind of know how to create like nice behind the scenes footage stuff of myself. But the cameras I have look amazing and they're great if I'm filming someone else. But when you're filming yourself, they're not great. So I've been using the phone camera And yeah, stay tuned.